Hey guys, so today I am filming how I do my foundation. So if you want to see how I achieve this kind of glowy, natural, everyday look, then keep on watching. First thing I like to start out with is a good primer. The one I've been loving is the Becca Backlight Primer. This one is great for hydration and also gives you kind of a glow. So I'll just take one pump of that, or maybe two, and distribute that throughout my face. For foundation, I use the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. This is great if you like that light to medium coverage and more of a dewy finish. This is awesome. So I will do a pump of this into my palm, and then I also like to mix in some illuminators. So I will use the Kevyn Aucoin, the Celestial Skin Liquid Lighting, and I use the color Candlelight. So I'll do a pump of that as well. Kind of mix it in there. Then I'll mix them together in my fingers here, and then I'll distribute that throughout my face too. The NARS foundation actually works better if you use your fingers. I didn't believe that until I stopped using my beauty blender, but look where I am now. Never thought I'd be putting my foundation on with my hands, but it looks a lot better. For concealer, I've been loving the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This one almost gives you an airbrush effect, and it's light enough for me, so that's a plus. I typically only put this under my under eyes, and then a little bit on my chin and my forehead where I have like breakouts. And then again, I'll just use the beauty blender to blend that in. So for powder, I've been using the NARS Soft Velvet Loose Powder, I think that's how you say it, in Snow, and that looks a little bit like this. But I only take just a tiny bit on my beauty blender because if you use too much of this, it can get kind of crumbly. So I'll just press this right underneath my under eyes and really make sure to blend it in. This might seem like a little much, but I also have been using the Mercier powder to just run it over my lids. This is the only powder that I've found that stops my eyelids from creasing, so I guess it works for me. I'm just going to take the beauty blender again and make sure that there isn't any creases before I powder it. So I use the Cover FX Illuminating Setting Powder and a little brush like this. And then just press that into the skin. And then once the rest of my face is then set, I'll use, well, this is the MAC 127 brush, and I'll just dust off whatever is left underneath my eyes and on top of my lids. For bronzer, I use the NARS Laguna bronzer. This is just the bigger version. And then I use, I'm not sure what brush number this is, but this is also a MAC brush. Just a bronzing brush, I guess. Once I have been bronzed, I take my powder brush again and just blend over it to make sure it's all blended out. For blush, I use the NARS blush. It's called Impassioned. It's like a very light kind of baby pink. I find that this is one of the only blushes that work for my skin tone because I am so fair, and it doesn't make me look like I have Raggedy Ann cheeks. So for highlighting, this is where it kind of gets intense. I use a couple different highlighters. The first one I like to use is a cream highlighter by Lancome. I like to start off with a cream because it kind of melts into the skin and gives you that lit from within glow instead of like a lot of highlighters, they just sit on top of the skin. So this one really helps the other powders stick to the skin. So I just use a kind of fluffy synthetic brush. This one is a Sonia Kashuk one. And just dip it into the highlighter and then press it wherever I want a glow. On top of the cream one, the first one I use is the Becca Champagne Pop Highlighter. The single one I had shattered, so I've been using the one out of this blush palette. It is this guy. So I'll just take a little bit of that and blend it on my cheeks. And a little bit up on my forehead. Or a lot, whatever. Another thing I like to do with the Becca highlighter is put it underneath my eyebrows. And a little bit on my nose and the inner corners. And last but not least, I use another Becca highlighter. This one is Pearl. This one is more suiting to my skin tone. I don't like to only just use this one because I feel like it can get really light really quick. So I'll just take a little bit of that and put that right over Champagne Pop. And then once I'm done highlighting, I will take the powder brush again that I used and just run over my cheeks once to make sure that there's no excess powder just sitting on the skin. And that's it for skin. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes off camera, and then I'll be right back to show you the finished result. Now that I've added a little bit of mascara and my favorite lip combo, which is MAC Fleshpot lipstick and the Marc Jacobs Sugar lip gloss. The last thing I do when I finish my makeup is put a little toner on over my makeup, and the one that I like to use is the Fresh Rose Floral Toner, and this just hydrates your face and refreshes, and I feel like this really helps melt the makeup into your skin. I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. and then fan her off. And that completes this kind of fresh, glowy skin tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. But otherwise, thank you for watching and hope to see you on the next one. Bye!